Hey, hello there and welcome back. Now, if you have seen all the other stories, then you will know who I am. But perhaps this is the first time we are meeting. And if you don't know who I am, well, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Andy and I am a storyteller. Storyteller? Yes, a storyteller. A person that tells stories. Now, I'm not going to read a story. I'm going to use my imagination and I'm going to tell the story from the pictures that I see inside my head. That's the beautiful thing about imagination. So the way I'm going to tell the story is going to be from me. And this story that I share with you, you could share this story with somebody else. Now, all grown-ups, if you are there, I would like to dedicate this story to you today. Now, it is a bit of a ghost story in the true tradition, or the Victorian tradition in the run-up to Christmas. But I think this story is very relevant for today. Now, before I start the story, I need to make sure that you are nice and relaxed. And to help you be even more relaxed, we are going to do some breathing. Oh yes. Now, if you have attended my previous storytelling sessions, you will know what we are about to do. So I would like you to take your hands and put them on your tummies. We're going to breathe in through our nose and we're going to fill up our lungs. And our lungs are going to fill up and they're going to push down. And for our lungs to push down, and it means our stomach muscles need to be nice and relaxed. So our tummy's going to stick out a little bit like a beach ball. All right? So hands on your tummies and let's breathe in through our noses. Fill up our lungs. Get as much air in as you can. Fill up those beach balls. And then purse your lips like this. Make your lips small like a little fish. And then breathe out really slowly. Right. Should we do that again? Breathe in. And breathe out. It was late on Christmas Eve, and a young man had finished his day in the office and was walking home. He had packed his briefcase, he had put on his coat. It was cold outside, it had just snowed, and he wrapped the scarf around his neck and he put his hat on. And he walked out and the sun had already set, it was dark. The lanterns and down the street lit the path that he was going to follow. He knew the way home all too well. The streets were quiet. He knew that many people would be at home now. But it was just him. But still, he was looking forward to a quiet evening at home. And he started to walk home. And he felt that sensation of his shoes squashing the snow beneath his feet flat, making that squeaky sound. And then he stopped. What was that? He thought. He looked around and he started to walk again. And he stopped again. He was absolutely certain that he heard footsteps behind him. And he turned and looked again. He didn't see anything. He saw shadows amongst the crevices of the buildings. But he saw no person. And so he turned and he carried on walking, and again he stopped because he heard the footsteps. He quickened his pace and he walked as quickly as he could. He wasn't far now from the block of flats where he lived. And he was convinced that he heard footsteps, but they were gone now. Just his imagination, he thought. Then he walked ahead to the entrance of the block of flats. Then he walked up the flight of stairs and he took the keys from his coat and they rattled as he put the key into the key lock, and he turned it and he opened it up. And he smiled, because there, sitting in the lounge, was his best friend. His friend George, who he hadn't seen in years. George was a childhood friend. They grew up together, they played together. They shared stories of girls. They went to the same university. They even started working at the same company. And then work took over, and they both got very busy. And the young man thought, goodness me, he was so pleased that George was here. He's been meaning to call George. He's been meaning all this time to call George and say hello and see how he was. And here he was, sitting in his lounge. How did you get in here? He asked. Was it the landlord? Did the landlord let you in? It's brilliant. Come on, let's have some wine. So the young man went and he opened a bottle of wine and he poured 2 glasses. He then went to the fridge and he found what he could to celebrate the evening. And he made a lovely meal. And the 2 friends sat at the table and they drank wine and they ate a meal together. And they spoke at length, well into the early hours of the morning. And the young man said to George, no, you must stay here tonight. And he quickly went into his room and he came out with a blanket and some pillows and a sheet. And he turned the sofa, the couch, into a bed. And eventually the young man went to sleep and he awoke on Christmas Day. Some sunshine was coming through the gap between the curtains. And he drew the curtains open and it was a beautiful day. The sky was blue, and then he remembered that his friend George had stayed over. Oh, this was going to be an amazing Christmas day. And he went into the lounge. But there was no sign of George. Where was George? The sheet had been neatly folded and the blanket too. And the pillow had been puffed out and all neatly stacked on the edge of the couch. And the young man then looked to the dining room table and saw a glass of wine that had not been touched and a full plate of food. He thought this was strange. He thought it was also strange that George didn't say goodbye. So he went and he found his address book with phone numbers. This was a long time ago, so before the time of mobile phones. And he found the number for George and he phoned the number. And there was a woman's voice on the other end and he said, "May I speak to George, please?" "This is George's mother speaking." The young man knew George's mother all too well. And he laughed and they spoke very briefly until George's mother said that, "George, had sadly passed away. You can imagine the young man. He was distraught. He said, "Oh no, what happened? It must have been not too long ago. What could have possibly have happened?" Now I'm very sorry to tell you, but it happened last night. He passed away as the hour struck 11. The young man dropped the phone. 11 o'clock was the time that he looked up in his office. Now I know that story is quite sad, and it certainly isn't a scary ghost story, but that story was a gift to me from my friend Hannah, and I wanted to share it for this year because this has been a strange year indeed. It's been hard on many people, and I know that there are many of us that have lost special people and things in our lives this year, and it's very hard to get them back, and the memories are the most important thing. But if those people are still with us, we should make every effort to recognize just how amazing they are. I wish you all well, and I hope you have a safe and happy Christmas and New Year. And let's see what 2021 brings us. We've got this far, and I'm sure we can get through it. This world needs more storytellers, more poets, more creative people, needs more kind people. The world needs us to share stories and be together. And you have a story. Everyone has a story to tell. All it takes is just one person to listen. I'll see you soon. And this is all part of the Sutton Newtown Community Festival. Bye-bye. Bye.